Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final U.S. Open episode. We did it, Nick. We made it to the end of the Grand Slam season. You know what? Surprisingly, I usually do have a slump after a Grand Slam where I feel a moment of just sort of sadness where it's like, oh, it's all over. But I woke up this morning surprisingly just ready to go because it was a great Grand Slam season, really great winners when you look at it in a whole, like the picture in a whole. And I don't know, I'm just like rearing to go. I'm happy it's all done and there's no FOMO. Like, it's all good.
We're all fine. I think there's a lot to do with, it's been a really good US Open on the whole. And I think it's also down to how busy you've been, maybe. You're like,
probably.
It's, feel like there's been a lot of sort of, you feel like that's ready to go. Like, feel like I'm done. I'm glad it's done. I'm ready to go and move on to the next thing. And I think also, for me anyway, I'm also just let it be accepted now that for the next sort of month, I'm not going to be watching much tennis because I don't want to, because it's now in the Asian swing. So apart from this week, but we'll get into that at the end of the podcast. But the next big step is Asia, and I know I will probably not be watching pretty much anything from that, or unlikely to.
Yeah, the time zones get really difficult from now on, so we will see how we do. But in this episode, we are going to be going through the US Open finals. We're going to do our US Open review as a tournament as a whole in general. And let's just give you our thoughts on what the tournament was like from the tennis perspective and also from the fan perspective, because we here at Ground Pass, we want to make sure we're giving you the opportunity to have a great fan experience, to give you the best tips and tricks. And so we're going to give you a full review of what we think this US Open was like, not only from my side of it, where I was on the grounds, but Nick, I also want to hear, I know it's a little bit difficult, but what it was like for you in the UK watching it as well would be also lovely to hear, because not everyone can come to the US Open. So it would be nice to hear what it's like also watching it from home.
Hey everybody, it's Nicole Byer here with some hot takes from Wayfair. A cozy corduroy sectional from Wayfair? Yeah, that's a hot take. Go on and add it to your cart and take it. A pink glam nightstand from Wayfair? Scalding hot take. Take it before I do. A mid-century modern cabinet from Wayfair that doubles as a wine bar? Do I have to say it? It's a hot take. Get it at Wayfair.com and enjoy that free shipping too.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Across America, healthcare teams are managing complex demands. At Siemens Healthineers, we're here to help. With more than 17,000 U.S. team members, we're pioneering breakthroughs in medical imaging, therapy, and laboratory diagnostics, giving healthcare teams the tools to deliver smarter, faster, more precise care. Because when the right technology meets the right moment, diagnoses are clearer, treatments more effective, and lives can truly change. For us, it's more than innovation. It's a promise built for generations. Siemens Healthineers.
You know who's surprisingly good with money? Greenlight Kids. The other day, mine stopped to think about the ROI on a bag of chips. Seriously. From getting paid for doing chores around the house to saving up for concerts, Greenlight's teaching my kids how to handle their money.
Greenlight your kids' financial future with the #1 family finance and safety app. Try Greenlight risk-free at greenlight.com/podcast.
Okay, let us start with the men's doubles finals, because this was a little bit of a heartbreak special, Nick. This is a little bit of a heartbreak special. Did you watch any of this?
Yeah, I watched from the middle of the second set onwards.
Yeah.
And I saw love 40 in the second set, which the Brits couldn't convert, and then I saw the love 40 in the third set that the Brits couldn't convert.
Yeah.
And all I will say is that where on earth did that clutch serving come from Granollers and Zeballos? Like, where did that come from? Like, that's just like, no, I'm getting any of these.
Yeah, it's really crazy because Granollers and Zeballos, so if you don't know a lot about doubles, Granollers and Zeballos are they've been a team for a long time. Granollers is 39 years old. Zeballos is 40 years old. So they've been together a long, long time. They have been the team that has never won a Grand Slam but should have. They finally won their first Grand Slam this year at Roland Garros against Joe Salisbury and Neil Skupski, who were their opponents again at this US Open. So this was sort of a rematch of the Roland Garros finals. And I think the Brits really wanted to get the win this time. They had so many chances. They had 3 championship points, and the team of Granollers and Zeballos saved all 3 of them. You know who was watching? There's an awesome video of Carlos Alcaraz watching this match because Granollers is from Spain, and Carlos Alcaraz is backstage watching it and losing his mind as they save all these championship points.
Wow. I mean, that goes to show, like, yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie no matter what discipline of tennis you play.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And hey, looks like the top players watch doubles.
Yeah, the top players watch doubles. So you know what that means. You should watch doubles too. But it was just so cute because it was one of those things where it was one of those moments where you realize, Carlos, he's just one of us. He just loves watching tennis so much. And it was such a really sweet moment. I just felt really a bit of heartbreak for the Brits because, again, they're a team that I think a lot of people wanted these 2 players to team up for the longest time. They finally did. In the beginning, it was really rough. I think it was so rough to the fact where people were like, oh, actually, maybe they shouldn't have teamed up. Like, this is not working. But they pulled it together. All of a sudden, in sort of like this, kind of like the spring, they started sort of like, once it got to the clay season, things started to click a little bit. They then got to the finals of Roland Garros, and then they started playing just really, really great tennis. So to get to a second Grand Slam based on the way they started the season, to get to a second Grand Slam final is a win for them. But then to lose a second Grand Slam final is really tough. We'll get to that again when we talk about the women. But yeah, I think there was an interview with Joel Salisbury. I think, was it the BBC? It was one of the British networks. I can't remember where I saw it, but, they were asking him about, like, have you watched back those championship points? Which I thought, why are you asking him that? That's crazy.
Also, what we learned that, like, the other guys had a great serve.
Exactly. But he basically was like, no, we're not going to watch back that match for a very long time. We're going to take a minute and then we will regroup later on and watch it. But it was a really great doubles final. Really great for Granollers and Zeballos because, again, you don't know how much longer they're going to be doing this. At 39 and 40, you don't know how much longer they're going to be playing professional tennis. Granollers, for example, was supposed to be in Davis Cup after this tournament. He's withdrawn because he has a foot injury that he has to go take care of. So he's not going to be playing Davis Cup for Spain. So yeah, to finally get their Grand Slam win and they get 2, it's great for them. It's really great for them.
Yeah. Big news for them in the age. And I don't know, doubles players could go on for a bit longer. So we're not in a too much of a Novak Djokovic situation for doubles. So they're probably going to be in the mix for another year or 2, maybe. But we'll see. As you say, Granollers injured, but there seems to be plenty of room on the double circuit for some good stories anyway.
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into women's finals. Aryna Sabalenka finally got a Grand Slam this year. She defeats Amanda Anisimova in straight sets. It was not the classic that I expected, nor was it the spicy match that I expected either. There was no spice. It wasn't a 3-setter. And I don't know what you thought about the match in general. It almost was. It wasn't a love and love loss like the Wimbledon final was, but I do think there was some nerves on Amanda's side that didn't let her play the great tennis she had been playing all tournament long. What do you think?
I don't know if you could put it down to nerves because she actually started pretty well. Okay, like she got broken early on, but that was a tough game, and then she broke straight back, and then she won 3 games in a row. And here's what I noticed, like, when Amanda was hitting the ball in the way that she, like just really going for her shots, she was winning. She was beating Sabalenka. And that match was at points it wasn't the match that we were hoping for all the way through, but there were points where it was. So I'd say that early in the first set, when they were really going at the ball and really going after each other, and there was crazy momentum swings in there. And then the end of the second set, when Amanda broke back and then kind of got it to, what would it have been, like 5-6, Aryna holds, wins the tiebreak. That's kind of how I sort of like the periods of passage of play where Amanda was swinging freely and going for it. She was a match for Sabalenka, if not beating her. So it's just she couldn't maintain the level. And I think she played more like her kind of median level than she did her top level in this match. I think she peaked against Iga. She peaked against Naomi in the second half of their match. And even then it was pretty tight. And I think she just peaked too soon this tournament. That was the big problem for Amanda. She just peaked a little bit too soon, came down from it. If she played like this against Iga, it was probably going to be a 3-setter because Iga wasn't 100% in that match. It's now come out that she had a foot problem. So she was compromised. You could see playing that match that she wasn't at her best, but it was still going to be a winnable match for Amanda, whether she played that incredible level or not. Because the reason why it was straight sets was that Amanda played amazing that match. Yeah. So I think that's what happened. She just peaked too soon. And that's what happened at Wimbledon as well. She peaked too soon against Aryna. And that kind of tells you something that if Amanda's going to win a Grand Slam, she either needs to peak in a final and hope she doesn't come across Aryna or Iga before that, or she's got to stay at that level for both because Aryna and Iga can do that. So I think that's where I'm kind of at with her at the moment, is that she will win a Grand Slam when she can do that. Like when she pulls up, she's got the capability to do what Madison Keys did, which was play amazing tennis for 2 weeks and get better and better and better. She has the capability of doing that, and I have no reason to believe that she won't. So let's not be down on what she can do. Maybe it was nerves. I think it was just, there were just weird things that bothered her and she just couldn't maintain the level she needed to beat Sabalenka, who I was so impressed with during that match, because Sabalenka, first of all, started a Grand Slam final better than I've ever seen her start one, because she's usually a slower starter, and she came out firing. And then Amanda upped her level. Sabalenka was frustrated, still got the break back and the set. And what I noticed is Sabalenka actually decided that she got used to what Amanda was throwing at her by sort of the middle of the second set. And even in that tiebreak, when Amanda got better and was firing back as good as she got, which was really, really impressive to me. And like, that's one of the reasons why Amanda being so up and down cost her, because Sabalenka's base level, that match was so high. She did not play badly. She didn't allow herself to. I can't think of anything Sabalenka did wrong in that final. Like, even she needed 3 championship points. Those were championship points that Amanda won. Sabalenka didn't make any mistakes.
Right.
I don't think she let Amanda break her. I think Amanda came and kicked the door in, to use the metaphor. So I think this was exactly the performance that Sabalenka needed to claim that last-ditch Grand Slam of the year that could have defined how we sort of saw things going. And I think that's where we're at with her, is that was always the ideal performance for what she needs to prove, that she's still very much the world number one and she's still the best of the world. And, you know, don't counter her out. Don't say that she's got a problem with the mental attitude. It's just she's coming across players having great days. I think that's what's going on here. So, Sabalenka and Anisimova both come out looking pretty decent from this, I'd say. And gave us some really fun rallies during that match.
Yeah. No, I think what I'm gathering from what you're saying, and also kind of what we watched in the match, is it all kind of comes down to experience a little bit. Sort of the point you insinuated there where you were like, there were things bothering Amanda Anisimova. She mentioned in her press conference that when she was serving, you know, when you serve and you look up, she hadn't realized that because the roof was on. So the weather, weirdly, the weather has been perfect all through this tournament. And then during the finals, the 2 days, it rained and the roof was closed for the 2 finals, and the roof is white. So Amanda hadn't realized, and when she was serving, she was like, I couldn't see the ball because the roof was white and the contrast with the ball was bothering her. So that was bothering her. She said she couldn't see the ball, and that was just from experience. She had never played on Ashe with the roof closed before. Aryna Sabalenka had. In terms of peaking too soon. Yes, she has gotten to a Grand Slam final before. I mean, She's actually done it now. She did it earlier on in her career. She did it at Wimbledon, but those are still new to her. And she's still learning to manage a tournament of that level. So I think what I'm gathering and what we are seeing is Amanda is still growing and she's learning. She is a quick learner. We saw it already from Wimbledon to now, where she's getting to a final and she's losing the final love just because she's exhausted. She has sort of used all of her mental and physical energy getting to that final that she just has nothing left to give. And then in this case, she still has something there, but there's still a little bit missing. So I think Amanda is just in a growing phase, but I love where she's at right now. It's nice to see another player like Amanda Anisimova in the top 10 who's now going to be competing at this level. And the way the women's top 10 is shaping out right now, I love it. Like, I feel like we're entering this era of almost big hitters. There are a lot of big hitters in the top 10 right now that can sort of challenge an Aryna Sabalenka or an Iga Swiatek, who are at the top of the game. You know, you'll have Madison Keys there as well. So it's very interesting to see how it's shaping up. You know, Amanda was devastated. She was really, really down on herself, but I hope she can rebound. Well, not I hope. I know for sure she will. She's shown us already before that she can rebound and, like, you know, totally take the lessons and move forward. It'll be nice to see how she kind of wraps up the rest of her season. At this point, I think she's pretty much, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure she's guaranteed to make it to the WTA finals. Yes?
Not 100% guaranteed.
Okay.
The other two players who are Sabalenka and Swiatek, but she's in a really, really strong position to do so.
Okay.
So, like, I think it would take quite a swing of misfortune for her not to be there, is kind of the way of seeing it. It's still possible that she won't, but I did see a tweet saying that apparently, like, if the top 8 stays as it is, it's going to be the first time since 2001 that the WTA finals, the top 8 will have 4 players who are American in there since 2001. The last time being Serena Williams, Venus Williams, Jennifer Capriati, and Monica Seles. So, which is like, you know, over 20 years ago at this point. Yeah, it's a good time for, like, big players and these kind of, and American women's tennis as well. Like, they're very much, America's leading the way in that sense. I think you make a good point with Amanda and her experience as well. I think it is clear, like, it's interesting how these little details that you haven't dealt with before will make a difference in a match the further through a tournament you go. And funny enough, I was watching this match with my dad and my mum, but my dad's much more of a casual tennis watcher, and he was like, what's the age difference between Sabalenka and Anisimova? Because it looks like Sabalenka's got way more experience out there and looks a lot more kind of comfortable with the environment, and clearly that was obvious.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, these kind of big hitters kind of coming through. This is something that I would love to get your perspective on as someone who maybe try to imagine a casual fan. What would you say to a casual fan? Because it feels like on the women's tour, particularly, there's a queue of women who are like good enough to win a slam, or we're waiting to win a slam, but haven't yet. And it's like, what's the best way, do you think, of talking about them in terms of, like, inevitability or strategy, I guess? Where's the best place on the scale to put it? Because if you think, that's the players I'm thinking of, like, Amanda's now been in 2 Grand Slam finals. Karolina Muchova was a break-up in the final set of a Grand Slam final, didn't win it. Ons Jabeur's reached 3. Jasmine Paolini's reached 2. And then you get these young players coming through, like Mira Andreeva, who is now, like, everyone's expecting to win one day, and now Vicky Mboka as well. Yeah. They're kind of in the queue for different reasons. Like, how would you kind of pitch that discussion?
See, it's different for different players, because, for example, you put Ons Jabeur in that list, and unfortunately with someone like her, I almost put her in sort of like the tragedy sort of bucket in that, because I just don't see her getting back into that form of being in contention for a Grand Slam again. But at the same time, and this is the sort of the beauty of women's tennis, because there's room for specialists, very much unlike the men's side. You take someone like a Marketa Vondrousova, who's great on grass, or an Ons Jabeur that's great on grass, and if they can get back to sort of like their top health, top form and you put them on the surface that they're really great at, they can almost beat anyone because they're just so good on that surface. So I think that I almost am like taking it back now, where I just see all of it as maybe it's not tragedy, it's just possibility. Like you just put them all in sort of the possibility bucket, and there is a chance for all of them to get there. And that's almost the fun in it on the women's side, where yes, there are the 2, 3, 4 names that every Grand Slam you're sort of like, okay, these are the 4 names that you're sort of like, those are the semifinals. Like those are the names that you're expecting to get there. But then there are like 12 other names that are possible and that you wouldn't be mad at if they got their Grand Slam moment, because they've been so close before. And
I think there's too many names to talk about any of them being inevitable. But I love the idea that there is so much possibility on the women's tour, and that's why I enjoy it so much, and why I've enjoyed it for so many years, is that I can look at so many players and see possibility for a big story to happen in one way or another.
Yeah. And it would all make sense. Like it wouldn't just sort of be sort of like out of nowhere. Like I just feel like they would all make sense because they're also skilled in their own different way. I know for a casual fan, it might just sort of be like out of nowhere. But I think that's the joy of following the tour for a full year. Because if you follow the tour for a full year, you can kind of see the little breadcrumbs that lead to one of those out of nowhere stories where you're just sort of like, well, you know, they did well at this tiny tournament here and this, or even if you're like, well, 2 years ago, because if Ons Jabeur next year won Wimbledon, to a casual, that could be like out of nowhere. But if you knew her story, you'd be like, well, this was coming. This was meant to be, you know, almost. So yeah. That's what I think.
She's the WTA's Goran Ivanisevic, for those who
Yes.
remember.
Hopefully, I really do. Of all the players that I just hope for, not sporting reasons, just for, you know, just nice feeling reasons, that they win a Grand Slam, and then just specifically Wimbledon. I just want Ons Jabeur to specifically win Wimbledon. But yeah. Anything? Well, the one thing I will say, just to wrap up on the women's finals, unless you want to say anything else, is I really do think Aryna Sabalenka needed to win the US Open. Or not even the US Open. She needed to win a Grand Slam this year. I think she's such an emotional player and an emotional person in a good way. I love that she emotes so much. She's had such a great year. She's got to 3 Grand Slam finals this year that I just feel like she wouldn't have felt that her season was complete if she hadn't had won a Grand Slam this year. And she is the first female player to defend the US Open since Serena Williams defended the US Open. So that was a really great stat for her. But what did you think about her finally? Did you think, like, in terms of her winning a Grand Slam this year? Because she's still number 1. Like, she would have always had that title no matter what. But I just feel like if she didn't win a Grand Slam, it would have been a dud for her anyway.
Yeah, but at this point in the tournament as well, because there was a possibility she would have lost number 1 this tournament going into it if she didn't make the quarters. And then she did, and it kind of made the whole thing moot. So, yeah, I think, that ranking was still going to be there, but it would have been very strange, but she didn't win a slam. And I think Aryna expects herself to win slams and wants to win slams, and was very, very close to 2 slams, you know, led by a set in the French. Like, it got to 5-all in the Australian Open, and Keys just struck out, like, just sort of struck when she needed to get it. Yeah, I think this one for Aryna is going to be really, really important. I'm glad that she got it. I would have felt gutted for her if she hadn't. And I think she's still very much on this journey of, like, I feel like she's constantly having to prove a point, even though she's the world number 1.
Yeah. Yep.
And, like, because for one reason or another, and, you know, she's still growing. She's 27. Yeah, I think it's big, and it was nice to see her to have that trophy and get that result. So I'm very happy that she's got it, and I think it continues to make the top of women's tennis interesting, with her at the top still winning slams, with Iga still winning slams, with Coco still winning slams, and that sort of rivalry that's kind of going on, that, you know, it's going to get interesting at sort of closer end of tournaments. Yeah, bring it on for Aryna.
Ya vienen los touchdowns. ¿Estás listo? Esta temporada de la NFL convierte las jugadas grandes en premios con DraftKings Sportsbook, un socio oficial de apuestas deportivas de la NFL. Descarga la app de DraftKings Sportsbook y usa el código HEART. Ese es el código HEART para recibir $200 en bonus bets al instante cuando hagas tu primera apuesta de $5. En colaboración con DraftKings, la corona es tuya. ¿Problemas con el juego? Llama al 1-800-GAMBLER. En Nueva York, llama al 877-8-HOPE-NY o envía un mensaje de texto con la palabra HOPE-NY al 467-369. En Connecticut, hay ayuda disponible para problemas con el juego. Llama al 888-789-7777 o visita ccpg.org. Juega responsablemente. En nombre de Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Debe ser mayor de 21 años. Pueden aplicarse cargos en Illinois. La elegibilidad varía según la jurisdicción. No válido en Ontario. Las apuestas de bonos son de un solo uso. La apuesta no se incluye en las ganancias y caducan después de ser otorgadas. La oferta finaliza el 29 de septiembre 2025 a las 11:59 p.m. hora del este. Los términos en DraftKings.com/sportsbook/promos.
What's it like to care for someone who's sick? To wait for answers, to hope for healing. These are the moments our nation's healthcare teams and their patients face every single day. And it's why we do what we do. We're Siemens Healthineers, and we pioneer breakthroughs in healthcare for everyone, everywhere. Across the country, from rural communities to busy cities, our medical imaging, therapy, and laboratory solutions help providers deliver care that can be smarter, faster, and more precise. With more than 17,000 employees across the United States, we're driving innovations that support healthcare teams, strengthen systems, and truly change people's lives. Because for us, it's about more than technology, more than innovation. It's a promise. Built for generations. Siemens Healthineers.
Yeah. Okay, the men's final. The inevitable. The thing everyone expected. Sincaraz Part 3. The franchise that keeps on going. This was the this was the final that everyone expected. There was no sort of surprise. No one ruined the final. We all got there. We all got to the Sincaraz. It was the third one this year. It's kind of incredible. And it actually still kind of surprises me that before this year, I think, we always kind of were looking for Sincaraz matches just in general, we were always whenever they were going to meet at a tournament, it was like, oh my God, they're going to meet, especially at a Grand Slam as well. You'd always look for it, but they had never met at a Grand Slam final. So that was the next thing where everyone was like, oh, the Grand Slam final. And it finally happened this year at Roland Garros, where it was it's finally happened. And it turned out to be a classic of a match. I mean, it's going to be in the pantheon of tennis history of a match. And then it just happened again and again. And now, just for the foreseeable future, I don't know about you, Nick, but who's going to stop them from meeting for the next forever? But yeah, so the match happened. It was not Roland Garros. I don't think it's going to be Roland Garros for a very long time because that was a very, very special moment, but it was still fun. I still had fun. I was at the screening, Ground Pass had a screening at McCarran Park and it was fun. What did you think in general of the match?
It was fun. It was a great watch. Again, I watched it with my parents, more my mum. Dad came in after the second set, I think. And it was good. There were moments regularly where we were going, wow, from both players.
Yeah.
Both players. Maybe more Sinner because we were wanting to see Sinner kind of step up and challenge Carlos a bit and make it close. But even then, Alcaraz does his thing, with the... Gosh, what was he did? There was a couple of shots, this insane drop shot that just kept going outwards. Just sort of that insane feel. He's got all that sort of bounce smash from the baseline that the ball kind of curved out of court, angles that no one in the history of tennis would have had hope of hitting. Just that insane level of side spin on it just worked. those are the kind of matches that they're having. And yeah, it was really, really good fun. I think regardless of when you could dig down into sort of what happened and what the story was for each individual player and why the match ended up turning out to be a 4-set and not a 5, and why it felt like it was more Carlos than Jannik as it went along. But I think one of the key things is when you got those intense points that those two can play, where they're absolutely going like full attack at each other, Carlos was winning more of those points, obviously. It was pretty clear that when Jannik was in full attack, Carlos had an answer for him today. Whereas if you're looking at Wimbledon, it was the other way around. And RG, it was pretty neutral. So I think that's probably the main thing to notice as a casual fan, and probably if you want to take anything away from that, take that away as a sign of where the match is going when these two play. And then we can worry about sort of why that all happens sort of when we dig deeper into it.
Yeah. There were definitely, this was one of, I think people have been talking all tournament long about sort of like how Carlos has been like super locked in and, he's just been like really good. He hadn't dropped a set, till basically the final. On the opposite side as well, everyone's looking at Sinner, and Bublik is calling him an AI and he's just a robot. So coming into this final, I was just hoping for a good match based off of Wimbledon and just how good Sinner is on hard court. Someone had asked me for a prediction and I had said, my heart says Alcaraz, but my head says Sinner, just based on, history and all of that. But I was sort of like, when did Carlos Alcaraz become a serve bot? It was so remarkable how much his serve has improved. It was so crazy. If you have been watching Carlos Alcaraz for a long time, you just knew he's a gorgeous player. He has the drop shot. He has the feel. He can get to any ball. He can run really fast. But his serve was always just like, meh. It's not his strong suit. Well, now it is. And that's a problem for everybody. That's going to be a problem for everyone. And then on the opposite side of the court, Sinner could not find a first serve. I was watching it with, obviously, all the people who came to the screening. And the meme, I think, was it Tennis TV who does it, where it's like, can't find a first serve? Like,
I think it's Cam Williams.
Was it Cam Williams? Oh, was it Cam Williams who did that?
I think Cam Williams usually plays it when he's
really?
when someone misses serve a lot on his streams.
That's so funny because I didn't know where I got it from. People were saying that because it was like, I've never seen Sinner that bad at a first serve, and then he would double fault, and it was just really weird. So I think that really was what was the main thing that almost decided the match. But I think also the biggest takeaway for me from this match, that obviously, if you can't tell already, if we didn't say, Carlos Alcaraz won the US Open. I don't know if we said that, but he did. But was the post-match interviews. Have you listened to them yet, Nick?
Yeah, I watched them live.
Yeah. The ones after, not the ones on court, afterwards.
No, I never watched them.
Okay. I watched both of them, and it was so remarkable how already, and I know probably, in the back of my head, I know obviously that this is what they're doing, but both players so specifically said how much all they do is work to beat each other. Like, they asked Carlos, like, what did you do differently? And he said, well, right after Wimbledon, he literally said, he was like, immediately after Wimbledon, I started working on what I needed to do to beat Sinner the next time I played him. And then they asked Sinner, they didn't even ask Sinner that exact question. They asked Sinner basically, what do you think about your game, currently, now that you've, after this tournament? And he literally said, he was like, I think I need to work on getting more variety so that I can, beat Carlos and be a little bit more like him, so I'm not as predictable. And I was just like, it was just so, because we all know this, theory, but just listening to them say it so directly was so fascinating that they just literally go back home and they're like, how do I beat this person?
I mean, that's the beauty of this rivalry. That's the beauty of this rivalry, that they both motivate each other, because you can see it even when they're playing. I did see the Sinner one, actually. I did tell a lie. I did actually see the Sinner comments.
Okay.
But even up to this point, like, Sinner makes Carlos lock in and focus. Carlos has always forced Jannik to improvise to a certain extent and go for it and take risks and show a little bit more. And like, clearly they're both on a journey with that, where Carlos knows that he has to stay focused and locked in, and especially on serve. And then Jannik knows that he's got to lighten up a bit to kind of take on Carlos and not be as predictable. So I hope that they're never going to be exact clones of each other, because they're all going to come from a different baseline in that and different approach. But it's going to be absolutely fascinating. I mean, look, if they're both able to just keep, like, if they get to a point where they're constantly playing tie breaks, that's going to be fascinating to a certain extent. So I'm looking forward to that when that happens, if that's the case. But yeah, I think every great rival has been motivated by, how do I beat this guy? Like, even now, after many decades, John McEnroe won't shut up about Bjorn Borg, because he was obsessed with the man for however long to try and reach and try to beat him. Roger Federer worked really hard to finally work out how it was that Rafael Nadal got under his skin. You know, Novak worked to try and get himself on par with Roger and Rafa. It's that's what's fascinating about these kind of rivalries. Like, that's why we're excited for more of these Grand Slam finals while we get them, until someone else shows up. Because it's going to be good, because you know it's going to be exciting tennis, because you know it's just going to get better from both of them to try and beat the other one, and they're going to want to rack up all these titles. And I think I said, like, no, I think I was in a conversation with someone who's like, well, who do you like out of the two, like Carlos Alcaraz or Jannik Sinner? I'm like, I'm a Sincaraz fan. I'm not a fan of either one as an individual, like, not as in like I don't like them, because I do. I like both of them, just not enough to support one of them. But I'm a fan of their combination, and I'm a fan of the combination that they bring. And if that's just going to get better as they seek to get better and match each other, then I'm all for it. Yeah. And it's always, you never know which way it's going to come, because I have a feeling, like today and like Wimbledon, it's literally going to come down to who's it clicking for on the day. Because it didn't quite for Sinner, and it was definitely for Carlos. I don't expect that to be how it is next time.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a fascinating rivalry, and I'm really enjoying, kind of, as they mature, seeing how they develop and grow, and kind of try and one up each other.
Well, speaking of mature, you know that Carlos Alcaraz is the second youngest man in history to win 6 Grand Slams.
Crazy. Who's the first? Who did it first?
Bjorn Borg.
Oh, of course.
Bjorn Borg.
He's usually
younger by 100 days than Rafa in comparison.
Wow. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that this is where they are at. For me, one of the biggest things also just watching these two, especially on the men's side, is like, the rest of the tour on the men's side really need to take note, because, we just had a whole conversation about the women's side and all the different options and all the other players that, we can consider as Grand Slam champions and all of that. And on the men's side, I'm just like, okay, so there are 2, and I just don't see anyone else. And yes, there are other players that I can see coming up. You see a Ben Shelton, you see an Arthur Fils, Joao Fonseca when he matures a little bit maybe, but it still seems so far away compared to these two. And you just think, can the others catch up sooner before these two run away with it?
Yeah, which we talked about on the last podcast, didn't we? So maybe not. I think it's going to take a tremendous effort. I think it's more likely going to be whoever the next young guy is going to catch up. Maybe someone will snatch a win, like a Ben or like a Ben Shelton or a Jack Draper.
Jack Draper, yeah.
Every now and again, but it is going to be these two defining it. But again, this is one of the things, like, maybe if you're a casual fan, you're getting out into kind of these bigger discussions, you might see this kind of coming up. Like, we want to see more stories on the men's side, like we are with the women's side, as we're saying. But this is a question that I want to again throw at you and get your perspective on it. Is the only downside of the women's tour for a lot of people is they don't have a Sincaraz. The closest they've got is Aryna and Iga, which you don't get very often.
Right.
Because the other tournament on their day has that. And by the way, if you've never watched the Aryna Sabalenka Iga Swiatek match, I can't think of a dud that they've played. But it doesn't happen that often, and they've never met in the Grand Slam final. Is that a major downside to the state of play? I don't think so. But what do you think?
I don't think so either. And I almost think tennis is better for it because we have two different tours that give us two different sides of it. You know what I mean? Where we have the option. We have the women's tour, which gives us a little bit more variety and option. And then you have the men's tour where there are these two juggernauts and, then you have the rest. So I think it's a win-win for now, at least. We'll see how it goes. Maybe in the future, I might change my mind. But for now, as we, maybe move on to the next section, I think looking at this tournament as a whole, I'm actually happy we had a different side of the women's tournament and the men's tournament, and that we could get a different variety on both sides.
Yeah, I think that's the best way of putting it is like if you watch the tours together, you get more out of it. I think it's the perfect way of looking at it rather than looking at which one has the better product and which one doesn't. Enjoy it as a combined product because that's what you and I do. So let's just settle in and enjoy the ride and enjoy the matches that we get as a result of both. So it should never be either or. Yes,
because you'll be missing out on something. All right, okay. Let's move on to our tournament review. Tournament review in general. Okay, I think we'll just divide this into the good and the bad. Let's start with the good. Let's talk about what we thought was good, and then we'll go into what we thought was bad. And, I think it's all relative. I'm not just like, this is good, this is bad. I think it's all relative. We all have different ideas and thoughts. And hey, share yours with us. If you attended, the US Open, or even if you watched from home, drop us a line in the comments. Let us know if you share our opinions, if you think differently. We would like to know, because I think joining in the conversation helps. It'll also help others kind of understand what it's like attending the US Open or how to watch the US Open over sort of the off season leading into next year. What I'm going to do is help flush out our tournament guides, because I've fallen behind on those, but definitely before the US Open starts next year, we will have a tournament guide, and it'll be nice to sort of have a full thing that people can look at before they, buy flights and tickets and all of that they can look at. So these sort of things will help build that out. But in terms of what was good this year, for sure, the women's tournament was just much more fun than the men's tournament.
I think we've said this.
Of course.
Multiple times, but I think that from day one, right?
Yes. From day one. Because for me, I don't like predictability. I like variety. I like to not know what's going to happen. And the men's tournament just felt like a freight train headed towards one destination, a Sincaraz final. And even the matches leading to that final were just not exciting. They were not, there were definitely a few fun, exciting matches. For example, I watched, moments I'll remember, I was watching Gael Monfils and Roman Safulin on court 5 at night. That was a fun experience because of the crowds and it was fun. And, there were moments, Al Munar had great moments this tournament. There were moments like that, but in general, it just felt, Felix Auger-Aliassime had great moments, but it just felt like a freight train headed towards a Sincaraz final. Where on the women's side, it was just anything could happen. Taylor Townsend was just having the best moments on court, taking out Mira Andreeva unexpectedly, almost made it to the quarterfinals. It just was everywhere you turned, there was a fun match happening. And I loved that sort of, it just wasn't predictable. And that's why I liked the women's tournament better.
Do you have a favourite match from these 2 weeks, men's or women's? Or doubles? I'll let you have more than one if you really can't decide.
That Barbora Krejcikova match and Taylor Townsend was really good. That was a really good match. Felix Auger-Aliassime and Sinner was also really good. That was a really good match. Even though I didn't watch that in person, I watched that at home. Off the top of my head, those are the two that I can think of right away. Yeah.
I think off the top of my head, there's a few that happened that I'm I'm really annoyed that I missed that live. And I did watch the highlights, but it's not the same thing. You don't really experience it in the same way when you do that or watch it back unless you really just cut off social media, which I have done in the past, but it's very hard to do with tennis, actually.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Not necessarily because I can't go on social media, but because like getting a full match to go back and sit down and watch it is actually a challenge sometimes. But for me, it's Krejcikova beating Townsend, because I was just so into that match, and it was so good
match.
And it was so dramatic and tight, and there was just so many interesting stories going on there. So for me,
that tiebreak in the second was that was a great match. Really
I wanted to I was trying to find someone else who was watching this match, because I was like, are you seeing this?
And I was like, yes, I can't feel my legs. No, that was and being in there in the stadium was really, really good too. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the women's matches were just like really good. It's hard to like remember specifically, but those two matches I would say are like one of my favorite moments of this tournament. Yeah. Yeah. Another great thing, actually, that funny enough, the US Open hasn't posted any sort of like, we broke this record of millions of people entering, they haven't posted any of those. So I have a feeling they didn't break any records because the grounds were crowded, but it wasn't uncomfortable. So I don't know if they sold less tickets this year or what they did to sort of reduce the number of people on the grounds. And I have a feeling they just sold less tickets, either less ground passes or less tickets somewhere, because it was like last year was insane. Like last year was ridiculous. You could not move. It was suffocating. But this year wasn't. Like it was crowded. There were lots of people there. It was lively, but you could move around freely and it wasn't uncomfortable at any point in time. And some of the improvements they made in terms of like getting into Louis Armstrong, if there was a popular match in there, like the virtual line that we talked about, that was really great. So you could do other things and you weren't just like stuck waiting in line somewhere. You could just go do other things. The capacity meter that you posted about at first, where I was trying it out, like the first few days, it just wasn't working, in my opinion. Like I was just like, it doesn't seem to be accurately sort of predicting, because I would be on a court and it'd be like, it's full. I'm like, but I'm here. It's not. And so I think it was either just like trying to figure things out. Obviously, it was like the first few days, but over time, like by the end of the tournament, I was like, oh, okay, it's actually working. Like it's getting a gauge of it. My whole thing with the capacity meter, though, is obviously it was working, but I didn't get the point of like, if there was a popular match, you would still go there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sort of like, sure, you're telling me it's full, but okay.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. I see.
I wouldn't. If I saw a state court was like 100% full, I'd be like, well, there's no point in trying, so I'm not going to go.
Right.
99, if it was like a big enough match, I might try.
Right.
But it's kind of like, if I'm stuck between, like if I had that and I was like comparing, like, okay, there's like a couple of different matches I want to go see. I can't decide. Oh, is there one that's going to be harder to get into the others? Because I would rather see tennis than stand in a line. So,
right.
It's like, okay, I can't get in there. I'm going to go and go to this one that I can get into relatively quickly. So that would be my preference, and that's how I would use it. I mean, I would also kind of be using it to kind of as a hype generator for a match. Like, hey, go watch this.
Like which one's the match to go to? Yeah. I see. Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I would see it. So like, I would use it for that as a tool to kind of tell me which one's worth wasting my time with or not.
Right.
So
I can kind of see that to kind of be like, oh, where's the popular match? Like, where is everyone going? Yeah. I could see that.
I think the other thing I saw this happening at Ashe. I wanted to ask you about it. Did they do a competition on Ashe that they kind of let people win upgraded seats? Because I saw that on a broadcast.
Yes.
Do they do that every day?
From time to time on Louis Armstrong and Ashe, they'll do or even on the grounds, like they'll just do a random competition. They'll take a camera crew on the grounds and they'll find anyone really. And they'll be like, you're upgraded and you get tickets to, and it's usually based on a sponsor. So for example, I actually remember watching one of these so they have these kiosks where you can get a phone charger and they're sponsored by Chase. So they went to one of the kiosks, and there were these two women getting a phone charger from the Chase, kiosks. And they went over there and they were like, "You've been upgraded to courtside seats courtesy of Chase." And then they upgraded them. So it's usually like something like that.
And do they release that footage on social media or?
Yes, sometimes they put it on social media. Huh?
I haven't seen it, so I was asking.
Sometimes, I don't know if they put it on social media. The times I've seen it is on either on a broadcast or on the screen on the stadium, in the stadium. Yeah, is when I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they do it. They pretty much do more than one, actually, like one a session or something like that on a court. But they do it a lot where they like upgrade people's seats or, in between sessions on Louis Armstrong, like they'll ask people questions or something. It's never the same thing. It's either they'll just do it randomly or they'll ask you a question or, it's something different, but then they'll like upgrade seats and stuff. Yeah.
I've not seen it before. Saw it on a broadcast. Thought it was a really cool idea, especially for something as expensive as the US Open, which we've talked about before, and we'll talk about again. And something as big as the US Open, you can see the disparity of what a good seat and a bad seat looks like. I think it's a great thing to offer as a little bit of incentive, even there's like thousands of people on the grounds and like the odds of winning something like that are big. But also, again, if you're a new fan, that's one of those things that you can, or any fan can go and like, I wonder if I'm going to bump into a camera crew today. But I did like that as a piece of a way to engage the fans.
Yeah. And it's also one of those things where you kind of, because that's the one thing about the US Open, there are camera crews everywhere. I don't know if it's like that at Wimbledon, but there are camera crews everywhere. So they're taking footage of you just sitting on your chair. They're just camera crews everywhere. So if that's your bag and if that's something you might want to do, you have tons of opportunity to possibly, get upgraded. But yeah, so I would say that was one of the good things. The grounds were not crowded. And based on the fact that I haven't seen any sort of announcement from the US Open about breaking records, I think they did not sell purposefully as many tickets as they did last year. Another good thing, Fan Week remains the best ticket in tennis. Like, it is free. You get to see players practice up close. You get to watch qualifying. It is still free. There are no plans, it seems, to ever charge for it, other than now this new mixed doubles competition. But something that I wasn't sure of, and I actually love, is the mixed doubles competition is only being charged in Ashe Stadium. So for the mixed doubles competition is over 2 days. The first day, matches are split between Ashe and Louis Armstrong. Ashe, you pay for. Louis Armstrong, you don't. So even for Fan Week, attendees, you can still get some of the mixed doubles for free, which I think is genius. And you still keep that goodwill amongst fans. You know what I mean?
Love it.
Yeah. And I think what was really, really good, again, it's like, and that's the thing about the US Open is there are these little things sometimes that I think people are upset with them about, but then they do these little things that you're sort of like, oh, that was brilliant to do. Because Venus Williams was participating in the mixed doubles championship. All of her matches were she only played one because she lost in the first round of it, but they put it on Louis Armstrong, which was the free court. They could have put that on Ashe. They could have put her match on Ashe, but they didn't. They put it on Louis Armstrong, which was the free court. So you were able to see Venus Williams for free. That was genius. That was a really smart thing to do. It just sort of like is free goodwill from the fans. So I think, there were really smart things that they did there. Even with her doubles matches during the tournament, they put them on Louis Armstrong, which is the people's court, in my opinion. Louis Armstrong's the people's court. Ashe is not. Louis Armstrong is the people's court. And they put her doubles match on there because it has a general admissions area for ground pass holders. Grandstand has it as well. There's like a general admissions area, but Louis Armstrong has it too. And, there was one day where, what happened? Oh, it was when Marketa Vondrousova withdrew. So there was a match down on Ashe and everyone was saying, they're going to move Venus Williams' match to Ashe to sort of cover. And I was like, I really hope they don't do that. because that would be unfair, first of all, to all the people who had been waiting on Louis Armstrong. And then they didn't. And I was like, again, another smart thing that they're doing is making sure sort of the ground passers and the people who are the tennis fans are actually, taken care of in that respect.
It was also the right decision for the players, because I think it came through about half an hour before the match was supposed to happen.
Yes. Yes.
The players would have just been warmed up, ready to go in half an hour, to be told, actually, no, we need you to go wait another couple of hours and do a night session on Ashe. Yeah. That just wouldn't be fair.
Yeah.
I also would not fly with Venus Williams, I doubt. So I think Louis Armstrong was the best place to do that. It was the right thing to do on all counts. And, I love the fact that they sort of did those things for free. They put Venus Williams on Armstrong throughout the tournament to make it accessible and let people kind of go and watch throughout the tournament. But yeah, I think also putting those mixed doubles matches on Armstrong and keeping them free kind of keeps the point of Fan Week, which is like they're trying to get engagement with the US Open so that people will come back and buy tickets the following couple of weeks or watch at home. And that's the kind of main point. So to kind of shut everything off for the mixed doubles would have probably shot themselves in the foot. So it's just that it keeps with the spirit of Fan Week. And I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else good for you before I move on to what was not so good?
I mean, it's difficult because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So like my experience of the tournament's been through TV, through Sky TV, which really good coverage on the whole, always is. The US Open is the only slam that Sky TV have, and they look like they had a couple of like access to some video replays and things like that, a bit like they have with their Formula One coverage, which is something else on there. The only thing I would kind of say about it is what was weird to me was the team they had out there was the team they have out there at every single tournament. So they didn't add anyone. They didn't do anything different. I think they just made sure they had everyone available rather than select people. But it was the same faces. They didn't add anyone or really do anything different. It was just another tournament, but they were just doing more tennis because it was the US Open. So I'd say it was kind of more of the usual from them, which isn't a bad thing because they don't do a bad job with it. But I thought it was a bit interesting that they didn't necessarily go all out on the US Open.
Right, like add like more people or something like that.
Yeah, add more people or like extra talking or something like that.
It seemed though that Laura Robson and Tim Henman were having like a good time.
Laura Robson's content creation this tournament, TikToks have been on fire, and Tim Henman's willingness to get involved he's been absolutely hilarious on them. Like I did not see him as the kind of guy who'd be up for that, but yeah, he is, and he had a lot of fun, and Laura's been sharing some good moments on her social media as well, including a very awkward conversation with Martina Navratilova that she had on air.
That was awesome.
Go find that if you can't. You don't know what we're talking about, but yeah, that made me laugh. Like the social, but that's all being driven by Laura rather than the Sky Sports team. But I think it's interesting that it's interesting about that Laura Robson's kind of doing that. Maybe we'll see some changes because like Laura's the tournament director for Queens, the women's tournament, not the men's. And Tim Henman actually has a scene, like he's on the board at Wimbledon. So it'd be interesting to see if the British tournament start doing anything different to try and generate some engagement. Like, hey, we did this and it was fun, and people worked with it. So, or any kind of coverage that we Brits do of other tennis tournaments, because the Brits don't know of anything that goes on that doesn't go outside of the UK, really. We're always surprised when June comes round and the fuzzy yellow balls come out. So, yeah, it's like, it's that time of year, isn't it? Right, all your pims.
Ya vienen los touchdowns. ¿Estás listo? Esta temporada de la NFL convierte las jugadas grandes en premios con DraftKings Sportsbook, un socio oficial de apuestas deportivas de la NFL. Descarga la app de DraftKings Sportsbook y usa el código HEART. Ese es el código HEART para recibir $200 en bonus bets al instante cuando hagas tu primera apuesta de $5. En colaboración con DraftKings, la corona es tuya. ¿Problemas con el juego? Llama al 1-800-GAMBLER. En Nueva York, llama al 877-8-HOPE-NY o envía un mensaje de texto con la palabra HOPE-NY al 467-369. En Connecticut, hay ayuda disponible para problemas con el juego. Llama al 888-789-7777 o visita ccpg.org. Juega responsablemente. En nombre de Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Debe ser mayor de 21 años. Pueden aplicarse cargos en Illinois. La elegibilidad varía según la jurisdicción. No válido en Ontario. Las apuestas de bonos son de un solo uso. La apuesta no se incluye en las ganancias y caducan después de ser otorgadas. La oferta finaliza el 29 de septiembre 2025 a las 11:59 p.m. hora del este. Los términos en DraftKings.com/sportsbook/promos.
You've earned your place. Now let the perks prove it. At High Five Casino, the Prestige Loyalty Program delivers real rewards tailored to how you play. Reach icon status and unlock 2 extra sweeps coins and 180 more game coins every day just for logging in. And with every tier upgrade, you can score up to a 50 sweeps coin level up bonus, plus personalized daily harvests that grow as you climb. Log in now and check your Prestige tier. Your next High Five moment is waiting. HighFiveCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, so what was not so great? The ticket prices. The ticket prices are not so great.
Can I just say to anyone listening, obviously you probably got a ticket prices rant in the last episode. I've been getting ticket prices rants from Anastasia off air for like daily, 10 to 15 minutes of it. This is not a complaint, by the way. I'm not having a go at you because you are absolutely right. Because the ticket prices you've been talking about are like $2,500 for a finals ticket is 5 times the price of a Wimbledon. I am sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry to American listeners. I am sorry to you, Anastasia, as an American saying this. The US Open is not 5 times better than Wimbledon. It just isn't.
No.
I'm not going to claim Wimbledon.
It's the same. It's the same Sincaraz.
It's
the exact same Sincaraz.
Yeah, I'm a fan of both. I'm a fan of the combo. It's not worth that much more. I was trying to do some research before coming on to see like how much other Grand Slam finals are, like Australian Open and French Open. I can't find it, but I'm sure the information's out there. But it just, like I wouldn't buy. I will give an analogy here of say a bit something personal life of like last week I lost. I was having trouble with my hot water in my house, and one of the things that I had to explore an option of, and thankfully did not need, was a new boiler, a new hot water system, which would cost around the region of £2,000 minimum. 2,000. So I say 2,500. I was hesitant to pay 2,500 for a thing that my house needs. I am not going to spend 2,500 on a US Open ticket, even if it's a Grand Slam final, even if it's Sincaraz. And maybe you're saying, Nick, you're just too tight, or Nick, you need to live a little, like live your dreams. Like there's living your dreams, and then there's being asked to pay through the nose for them. Yeah. But also, people who know me in person know that I am kind of cheap. I will put that out there as a personal flaw to bear that in mind. I'm 100% with you, Anastasia, in that. To be honest with you, okay, like if I was going to fly over to New York to watch the US Open, I would probably do week 1. But if I was going to come over finals weekend, I'm not going to the US Open. I'm going to go watch it in McCarran Park with Anastasia.
Yes, you are. Yep. But it's just, the ticket prices just keep getting worse. And I am not like Nick. Although I did actually a couple of years ago have to go through the experience of switching my boiler, which is one of the most awful experiences ever, by the way. But I had to do it. It's just, I am not as, like, I like nice things. I like to get nice things. But $2,500 was what I know someone paid to sit in Lodge, which is the second level, to go watch Sincaraz. And we'll talk about this in, what also was really bad, but later. But it just is, in my opinion, not worth it. I love tennis. We have an entire tennis podcast. We are here talking about tennis to you. I would not pay $2,500 to go watch tennis. No. For what? What was that? 3 hours? And then it's done? I guess for the memories. So they give you a free hat, by the way. They give you a free hat. So you have that. No. So by the way, and I just don't understand because I saw Novak Djokovic play Daniil Medvedev in 23. Was that 23?
2023, yeah.
Yeah, so that was 23. For those tickets, I think I paid $450 in that range in lodge. So the same spot that we're talking about for Novak Djokovic and Daniil Medvedev. And now that ticket is $2,500? What? Why? What happened in the 2 years?
Please insert visible confusion meme across my face. Either tennis has got 5 times more popular, or for some reason they think that Alcaraz is 5 times better than Djokovic Medvedev. Which, to be fair, it probably is.
It probably is, but
still,
there's no. But
the level
still,
of inflation is ludicrous and cannot really be justified.
That cannot be justified because we are who we are as a world. I paid in that same area that same year $150 to watch Aryna and Coco, which I don't know how much Aryna and Anisimova was, but again, it just defies any sort of meaning.
This is what happens when tournaments don't have fixed prices.
Yeah. So it's become a little, there's no way you can tell me that in 2 years, $450 has become $2,500 in the same area because tennis is more popular, because Alcaraz is more popular. It makes no sense. There is a resale problem, and other countries around the world have caps on the percentage of how much you can resale. What I've also found out, so if you don't know, I made a video that actually became very popular online on our Instagram and TikTok. I made a video about the ticket resale prices at the US Open, and I got a lot of responses. I don't buy a lot of concert tickets because I don't go to a lot of concerts. It's too many people, which is weird. I'm just like, it's too many people, too close together. But I got a lot of responses from people who say, actually, there are some concerts where there is a cap on the percentage that you can increase concert tickets for. So it actually can be done in the US. So why can't it be done for tennis? These are the questions I'm asking, and I might have to go down a rabbit hole and do some research and figure this all out. But I just think it's irresponsible and it's not fair for tennis fans that this is what it's like right now. Again, on Ground Pass, we always say the first week is better anyway. So, we're fine. But still, there were some ground passes, especially during middle weekend, that were super inflated that didn't have to be. So yeah, ticket prices.
And let's be honest, this is the other point that you've got. So we're saying this, get ground passes if you can, even if they are inflated, they are the cheapest option anyway. And going to finals, you've been to US Open finals. I have never been to a Grand Slam final. I've never gone. I think I thought about it once and then it didn't really fit with my schedule. But it's one of those things that, if you're a tennis fan, it's a once in a lifetime thing. It's you just need to do it the once. You don't need to do it on a regular basis. Yeah. But you can always enjoy tennis in the first week on a regular basis. Even besides all of that, another thing that sort of gets mentioned a lot is, we're talking about the prices for the biggest court and the biggest stage in tennis. Numerically, in terms of seating, it's not a great ticket anyway, even if it wasn't vastly inflated.
Yeah. Yeah. Anywho, what's the next thing? This is just something that for me has happened over a couple of years. Ashe is not a great ticket. The Ashe ticket is not a great ticket. It happened last year, and I think also the year before, really. But a lot of matches in the first week of Ashe, they were over, very quickly. The day session was over very quickly. They would have to add a match, to sort of make up for the time. People pay so much money and you're just getting 2 short matches. A lot of times it's because that's where the big names are put. And in the early rounds, based on the draw, you have a lot of big names playing either qualifiers or lower ranked players. And a lot of those matches, not all the time, but they tend to be blowouts. So you're not getting the best quality matches on Ashe. The biggest kept secret of the US Open is that the best matches are on Louis Armstrong. I don't know why people don't buy tickets to Louis Armstrong. Everyone I ever meet, they're like, oh, I'm going to Ashe. I'm going to go watch Novak, or I'm going to go watch Coco Gauff. And I get it. I understand. But if you want to watch good tennis in the first week, buy a ticket to Louis Armstrong day or night session. You will not be disappointed, I tell you. So for me, that's still a bad thing. Tickets to Ashe in the first week are not worth it. Start in the middle weekend if you have to. If you want to get a good Ashe ticket, start in the middle weekend, and then you'll be fine.
Or go in fan week, pay for one of the things on Ashe, or go and watch a practice on Ashe.
Exactly. If you want, pay for like the mixed doubles thing on Ashe for fan week, and you'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. If you really want to have that experience, I think that probably seems to be a cost-effective way.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. That's probably the best way forward.
The last thing is something that was quite unexpected. Just totally unexpected. Didn't think we'd be talking about this today. But the men's final yesterday was delayed because the president was coming to the tournament. And this was known a few days before that he was coming. But so the men's tournament was supposed to be at 2 p.m. At around 1:30 Eastern, it was announced that the men's tournament will be pushed to 2:30. Why? And I'll insert, if you're watching this on video, I'll insert photos of what it looked like coming through into Ashe. But they had put sort of like airport level security. Obviously, if the president is at a tournament, security is just heightened and stuff. So it was just slow to get in. My problem is this was known for a few days. To not have a plan or to not expect that this would just take longer than normal, to not let people in earlier than the regular time is crazy. So what then happened was more than a few thousand people missed the first set of this match. We just talked about ticket prices. So imagine that poor person who paid $2,500 to come watch Sinkeraz, then miss the first set of the match. That's just embarrassing. I do not know how the US Open or USTA, who runs the US Open, can sort of like look those people in the eye and say, so sorry, you paid all this money. You're going to miss the first set of the match. Like that just, and you know what is so funny? Like the most embarrassing thing about it too was I saw this post on X that I was just like, oh, this is even more embarrassing, because someone posted on X where they said, the royal family attends Wimbledon every year, but they seem to not delay the matches ever. And here we are. It was very embarrassing.
When was the last time a president came to the US Open? That's legitimately, I don't know. Like a sitting president.
Bill Clinton, when he was president. So when was that? It was a while ago. But Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was the last. Yeah. Bill Clinton was the last president to attend. Yeah. So it's been a while, but still, it's not like it's never happened before. It has happened before. I just feel like to not have a plan, to not say, you know what, this could just take a bit, because they had, for example, with the press, the press were told, leave all your stuff in overnight, come way early in advance, all that stuff. I feel like they should have started letting fans in almost 3-4 hours in advance. It took a full set and a bit to get people in. That's really tough, and I doubt people are going to get their money back. But anyway.
It just sounds poorly planned, because I could think of lots of logistical reasons why that sort of thing would happen, why it would be necessary. Like, do you really want to let people in before the president? Things like that.
Oh, well, that's true. That's true too. You have a very good point. You have a very good point there. You probably don't want to do that. I mean, I don't know security details. I don't know.
No.
I have no idea.
It's above our pay grade.
But exactly. But that's a possibility, but still.
Yeah. But still, like half an hour was not enough time extra.
No.
No. And unfortunately, it's one of those things like, well, we said 2 and we've got broadcast deals and we deliberately moved this to be better for prime time in other countries, and like it ended up presenting a logistical nightmare for them when they tried to go for a halfway house. It didn't work because it ended up screwing over the people who were actually going to the tournament.
Yep.
Which ironically is probably the people that you most need to please. So
yeah,
that would be no, I can understand how it happened, why it happened. It's one of those things they'll know for next time if we get a president back again at the US Open.
Yeah. Okay, we've come to our last part. This is a long one. It's another long episode, but it's a full review. You think tennis is over once the US Open is done? Have you not been listening to Ground Pass? No. We have a full season left to finish.
I alluded at the start, we've got the Asian swing coming up. Starts in a couple of weeks with Billie Jean King Cup, and we'll be winding up for Beijing and Tokyo and going to Shanghai and all that happening. That's not happening this week, though. This week we have Davis Cup. So the guys do get a bit more of a break because that's only going to be over the weekend. The WTA has a 500 happening in Guadalajara and a 250 happening in São Paulo.
Yes.
Guadalajara's got Maria Sakkari, Zeynep Sonnes, both Kudermetova sisters. A few other names in there. Return of Sloane Stephens after a long time out. I thought she'd become a broadcaster now, but clearly she decides she still wants to play.
No, she's coming back. No, Sloane Stephens is making her return to the Pro Tour. And I'm excited for it because she never said she was done. Like, I think she specifically said, I'm just taking a break. Not taking a break, but she's, recovering from injury to do Roland Garros. But then she just kept doing the broadcast thing. So I was like, wait a second. Is she actually coming back or is she now just becoming a broadcaster? Like, what's happening? So I think she kind of, I think people were kind of like a little bit questioning if she was going to come back, but she is actually coming back and she's going to be playing in Guadalajara. So excited to see her back on the Pro Tour. And yeah, it should be interesting. See how she's doing.
She likes playing in Mexico as well. She always does well in Mexico. So that's a good sign point for her. Then Sao Paulo, Beatriz Haddad-Maia is the star. She's the top seed. Like, all the crowds are going to go and see her. Like, Brazilian fans love Beatriz Haddad-Maia. Like, she's like their biggest tennis star other than João Fonseca. Other people there, Alex Ayala, star of the Philippines, is going to be there. And Jones from Britain, she always seems to like playing in South America. She's going.
Yeah.
Aya Tomljanovic, Solana Sierra, underdog queen. She's going. So there's a few interesting things going on, and that tournament has literally just started in the last half hour of recording. So there's some tennis to enjoy this week.
Yes.
And slightly more chill tennis, I would say, probably, from a fan's perspective, not for the people actually playing.
Yeah. And I just wanted to, so I mean, it's like the WTA, they're sort of like hitting the ground running right back at a tournament. Like you said, the ATP are taking a break, but I wanted to mention specifically because the Davis Cup, which is happening at the end of the week, it's a Davis Cup tie between the US and Czechia, is happening here in the US in Delray. That's happening this Friday. So if you are listening and you just happen to be in the Delray Beach area, Miami area, because Miami is not far away, you can just drive on down, go support the Team USA in the Delray Beach area. Ben Shelton and Tommy Paul were supposed to play, but due to injury, they have both had to pull out, but they're going to be replaced by Opelka. The rest of the team is, who's the rest of the, Taylor Fritz is playing, Tiafoe's there as well. But yeah, so if you're in the Miami, Florida, Delray area, go down, support the guys. They're playing against Team Czechia, and it's going to be a tough team. Okay, so they're probably going to need your support. Bila Hečka is going to be there. Thomas Mahak is going to be there. Who just won the Miami Open? Juka Mensik is going to be there. I was going to go down, but I'm exhausted, guys. I can't. I'm done. I'm done for no more getting on planes or driving anywhere for Anastasia for a bit. But I think that's going to be a really exciting tie against two very strong teams. So go down to the Davis Cup in Delray and support the guys, because that should be really fun. It's been a while since there's been a local Davis Cup tie in the US, so that should be fun.
And if you can't make it or to any of the Davis Cup matches, because there's a few happening, you can watch them on Tennis Channel. Or at least they can here, like Tennis Channel International is where I'll be watching, keeping an eye on what's going on there. But go if you can. I've been to Billie Jean King Cup and the atmosphere is incredible. Davis Cup is no different, so definitely go and check those out. It's going to be fun and a super close match. Zazia, we've got one more thing to do, haven't we?
It is time. It is time for the play of the fortnight.
1 month after the last one we did.
Yes, it's been a really, really long time, but forgive us. It's been a while. But I think these are really good. These are really, really good players of the Fortnight. And we almost kind of teased it a little bit last time, unbeknownst to us. We didn't realize we were teasing it when we teased it. But I will start. Player of the Fortnight on the ATP side is Jaume Munar.
Finally! He's the guy who should have been player of the Fortnight by this point, but he has finally won it. Congratulations. You are the Aryna Sabalenka of Grand Pass, Jaume Munar.
You made it. We should make trophies. We're going to make trophies, guys. We're going to make baby trophies for player of the Fortnight. And every player of the Fortnight is going to get a baby player of the Fortnight trophy. But no, Jaume Munar has had a phenomenal season. Turns out, for example, Carlos Alcaraz won the US Open, so he's pulling out of the Davis Cup tie. Guess who's replacing him? Jaume Munar. Jaume Munar is just on a roll right now. Played really well in Dallas. This US Open, he made it to the fourth round. His last match at the US Open, he lost really badly to Lorenzo Musetti. And at first I was like, ooh, this is like a really bad loss. Well, guess what? Jaume Munar had laryngitis at the US Open.
Wow.
And he made it to the fourth round. Jaume Munar, take a bow. You are having an incredible season. And if you don't know anything about Jaume Munar, I think he's just one of the new, and he's not young, he's not sort of like an 18-year-old up and coming in the scene. He's been around for a while, but I think his game is finally starting to click, starting to come together. I think he's definitely one to watch, especially next season. I think he's one of those players. I truly do believe, after having this such a great season, even next season, I think he can kind of add on to it and develop and have a great next season as well. So Jaume Munar, you did it. Player of the Fortnight. Really, really well-deserved.
Well-deserved. About time. And face it, if you're winning with laryngitis, you put the work in. So definitely a good week to get this one. Right, time for mine. My pick is Taylor Townsend for Player of the Fortnight. Because who else? I was like, yes, she's the ultimate Grand Pass story from this tournament. So close to the quarterfinals. We talked about the match she had with Barbara Krejcikova, which will live long in the memory. Heartbreakingly didn't make it. Heartbreakingly didn't win the US Open final this time, but hopefully she does in the future in the doubles with ideally Siniakova because they're a great team. But here's the thing. Taylor Townsend, go watch her on a Grand Pass in singles or doubles because she's great. Go watch doubles. We've been enjoying the doubles so much this US Open. She's been a big part of that. And I think also her journey is kind of in the singles is kind of, over the 2 weeks, is kind of like everything that we kind of want Grand Pass to highlight or talk about, or like kind of in the story of the tournament. She was the center of drama in the early part, in the first week, and the first week was all about drama. And then she gave us one of several great matches in the second week against Krejcikova. Obviously, she beat Milena Andreeva. She has another proper run 6 years after her previous one where she beat Simona Halep. And then, does the run to the doubles final again. And that's really, really exciting. So Taylor Townsend, for me, is always a solid Grand Pass pick. And he was the Grand Pass, the story of the tournament that you could have gone and watched on a Grand Pass, or at least a decent ticket. Even, I was going to say, you could have enjoyed seeing her fight with Jelena Ostapenko, but actually Anastasia was there and couldn't understand what was going on and had to find out about it later.
Yeah, I wasn't close enough.
That's kind of what went down with that. So Taylor Townsend, took about, really enjoying having you as part of the tour and want to see more and would recommend anyone go watch her.
Yeah. Such a fun part of the tour. Great watch. Now has a great line of clothes. So, all in all, great player, great watch. These are like, I think this pairing is one of my favorite like pairings of like Player of the Fortnight that we've done in a long time.
Fall is all about cozy comforts, but when you're prioritizing your health, it's easy to feel like you're missing out. With Hero Bread, you can enjoy all your fall favorites because they're made with Hero Bread sliced bread loaves, tortillas, bagels, dinner rolls, and more. Try their all-new Hero Noodles with 12 grams of protein and just 80 calories. You won't believe Hero Bread's options have 0 to 5 grams net carbs and are high fiber from the taste and texture. They've even got small batch drops of indulgent favorites like the popular Hero Croissant. And right Right now, Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's FALL25 at HERO.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains 2 to 18 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.
You probably think you know Philadelphia, but how well do you know Philly? Philadelphia is what you expect. The Bell, the Hall, Rocky, cheesesteaks, the classics. But Philly is a whole lot more. Come for Rocky, stay for Renoir. Come for the cheesesteaks, stay for the Haitian spaghetti. Come for the American history, stay for the Southeast Asian market. Come for Philadelphia, stay for Philly. Book your stay now and enjoy free hotel parking. Go to visitphilly.com to get started.
The NFL is back, and FanDuel's got everything you need to play your game, from same-game parlays to live betting. Right now, new customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. 21 plus and present in select states. 18 plus in Kentucky and Wyoming. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guys, this was a long one, but such a fun one. Wrapping up the US Open. It's been such a great tournament, a great end to the Grand Slam season. We've had a great time. Thanks for, sticking with us. If you're new to the Ground Pass family, welcome. We're fun. We like to keep it fun and light. That's Nick and I. But yeah, we will have a playlist for US Open podcast, so you can go check that out wherever you're listening to this. Please give us a 5-star rating. It's the way people can find us and, listen to the podcast. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. Those really do help us know what you want to see, what you're liking. It's great to have those conversations and just sort of know where we're all at. I really love responding to the conversations and seeing that. My favorite conversations I've had so far are on the sort of fashion episodes that we've done. You guys have opinions. I like them. I like your opinions. They're fun. But yeah, either way, we'll be back next week. Maybe. TBD. We might be back with Meet the Professionals episode. If you're new to following Ground Pass, we might have a video out sometime this week with an explainer, but just really quick, we do a Meet the Professionals episode usually as a filler sometimes to give ourselves a break. They're really great interview episodes that we do with what we call professionals within tennis who are not tennis players. So we talk to coaches, we talk to commentators, physios, people around tennis who are not tennis players. Are usually really great, fun interviews. So we might come with you with one of those next week instead of a regular podcast like this. And then we will just be back the following week. Either way, we will see you next week, whichever shape or form. Thank you so much for such a great Grand Slam season. Bye, guys.